Dark Night of the Soul, according to Carl Jung, not what you think. We're going to talk about it today. He's going to give us a totally different perspective. And I want to be very direct with you and upfront. Almost everything you've been told about it, according to Carl Jung, is wrong. I sort of like this different perspective on it. Most people think the Dark Night of the Soul, it's a breakdown, a negative thing, right? A crisis, a sign that something has gone terribly wrong with their spiritual path. Right? We've all thought that, right? Carl Jung said the exact opposite. He said it's the most important thing that will ever happen to you. And today I'm going to show you exactly what he meant and why that changes everything. So most people that go through the dark night of the soul spend years trying to understand what happened to them, why it came, why it lasted so long, why nothing they tried could stop it. Well, Carl Jung spent his entire career studying this exact experience, and what he discovered, what he actually documented, is nothing like what most spiritual teachers tell you. Let's go. Welcome to Landria, Onkka on YouTube. I help you break through the fears. All of these feelings holding us back, limiting us, it's not necessary anymore. And we're going to talk about that because we're going to talk about the misunderstanding that is costing people everything. I hope you'll share this message because I think you're going to like it. Please subscribe and click that bell. Let YouTube know we're ready to move forward into a new era. Yes, there'll be challenges. So before we get into what Carl Jung actually said, I want to acknowledge something because someone watching this right now is either in a dark night right now or they've been through one and they're still carrying the confusion of it. It probably doesn't make sense, does it? And the most damaging thing that happens during a dark night is when you've been told by well-meaning people, sometimes by spiritual teachers, that you should be able to meditate your way out of it. Fight it, get past it, right? End it, raise your vibration out of it, positive, think your way out of it. And when that doesn't work, and it doesn't work, you conclude that something is fundamentally wrong with you and that you're failing spiritually and that you're broken. I think we've all been there, right? Carl Jung would tell you that conclusion is not only wrong, it's the opposite of the truth. So let's be honest, the dark night of the soul is one of the most important misunderstood spiritual experiences in existence. Yeah? No money, no health, relationships, jobs can avoid it. It has been related to clinical depression. It's been spiritualized into something mystical and untouchable. It's been romanticized by some and pathologized by others. Jung cut through all of that. He gave it a scientific framework. He gave it a name with a larger map of transformation. And once you understand that map, the one we introduced in our last video, the dark night of the soul stops being terrifying. It becomes something else entirely. And if you haven't seen that video, go watch it. I think you're going to be enlightened in many ways. So here's what I want to focus on today. What the dark night of the soul actually is, according to Jung, why it comes when it does, 5 signs that what you're experiencing is a genuine dark night and not something else. And most importantly, what it is actually doing to you while it's happening. What Jung actually called it. In our last video, we walked through Jung's 4 stages of individuation, the complete map of human transformation he spent a lifetime documenting. Nigredo, albedo, citrinitas, and rubedo. The dark night of the soul is nigredo. In Latin, nigredo means blackening. Jung borrowed this from the ancient alchemists. And I want you to remember what we said about that. The alchemists were not trying to turn physical lead into physical gold. They were describing in symbolic language the transformation of the human psyche. I like that. In the first stage of that transformation, you have to break down the lead completely before it can become anything new. The old material has to dissolve. The old structure has to be dismantled. The ego, the identity you built to navigate the world, has to be broken open. That is what the dark night is doing. It has a great purpose. Jung described nigredo as the putrefaction, ew, that's an icky word, of the psyche. A word that sounds harsh, but think about what putrefaction actually is. It is organic material breaking down so that it can feed new life. A forest floor decomposes so that new trees can grow. The darkness is not destruction. The darkness is decomposition, and decomposition is how life renews itself. This is what the entire planet's going through right now. And it seems dark and ugly. It's the best possible stage we could be in. Now, here's what most people miss. Jung said the dark night is not random. So it's not punishment. It's not a sign that your spiritual path is failing. It is the psyche's own intelligence forcing you into a confrontation that the ego would never choose voluntarily, right? It doesn't feel good because the ego will always choose comfort. The ego will always choose the familiar. The ego will always choose the story it already knows about who you are, right? That identity that we have, those names. The dark night comes when the self, the whole self, not the ego, decides that story is no longer enough. Why it comes when it does. Now, this is where it gets really important because one of the most disorienting things about the dark night is when it comes. It almost never comes when your life is already falling apart. It almost always comes when things seem fine. Sometimes it comes right after a breakthrough, right after a period of growth, expansion, spiritual opening. Have you experienced that? You might say, no, 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 it's when everything was going wrong. But I want you to think back about that. You just had the best year of life. You've done the work. You meditate. You healed. You grew. And then without warning, the floor drops out. Now what? Jung explained exactly why this happens. As you grow spiritually, you expand your conscious awareness. More light comes in. But here's the paradox, and I want you to really hear this. The more light you let in, the more clearly you can see what's still in the dark. The shadow material that's been living below the surface of your consciousness, the unintegrated parts of yourself, the wounds that haven't fully been met, the beliefs that are still running in the background. So no matter where you are up here, that's still there, and you must work through it. The expansion of light doesn't eliminate the shadow. It illuminates it. And when enough light enters, the shadow can no longer hide. This is a good thing. That confrontation, that moment when what was hidden in you becomes visible, is the dark night. It can be very disturbing, but it's going to take you to that next amazing phase. So when somebody says, I've been doing all the spiritual work and then I fell into the darkest period of my life, that's not failure. That's the exact sequence Jung predicted. The work opened the door. The dark night is what walks through it. It's part of us. It's part of being human. All of it, right? We fight it. No, no, no. Do you feel it? Because I want you to remember that. The 5 signs you're in a genuine dark night. Now, I want to give you 5 specific signs that what you're experiencing is a genuine dark night of the soul and not regular depression. Okay? Many of you have that. And you're very spiritual. Why? Because it's tough to be spiritual and loving and live in a world that's so destructive. Let's make sure this isn't grief or burnout, because the distinction matters, not because one is more valid than another, but because they call for different responses. Sign 1, the loss of meaning. The loss of meaning, not just happiness, loss of meaning. Regular depression often feels like sadness or numbness. The dark night feels different. It feels like the meaning has been drained from things that used to matter deeply. Oh, I'll bet you some of you are feeling that. Not that you're sad. It's that story you were living inside, the story that gave your life structure and direction. It stopped making sense. The things you believed in feel hollow. The identity you built feels like a costume. Sign 2, spiritual tools stop working. Ouch. This is a sign that confuses people the most. During a dark night, the practices that used to give you peace, meditation, journaling, prayer, manifestation work, suddenly feel empty. Like you're going through the motions, like the signal dropped. Jung would say this is because those practices were partly feeding the old ego structure. And the ego structure is exactly what's being dismantled. And you're not losing your connection to source. You are losing the old channel through which you accessed it. A new channel is forming. Don't worry. So sign 3, a deep, inexplicable fatigue. Not tiredness from doing too much, a cellular heaviness that sleep doesn't fully touch. This is the energy cost of nigredo. The actual work of decomposition happening at a psychic level. Your system is doing something enormous below the surface. The fatigue is the evidence. Sign 4, unexpected grief for a self you can't name. I love that. I love getting rid of the names. You may find yourself grieving without being able to explain what you've lost. No one died. Nothing obvious ended, and yet you feel a profound sorrow. Jung said this is the grief of ego disillusion. Oh, wonderful thing. The mourning of a self that is passing away. It is real loss. Honor it. You've identified so closely with it. Yes, honor that loss. It's real. Sign 5, moments of strain, inexplicable clarity, breaking through the darkness. This is a sign that tells you it's a dark night and not simply depression. Amidst the heaviness, there are moments, brief but unmistakable, where something feels more real than it ever has. A sudden piercing sense of presence, a moment of absolute stillness, a knowing that something is being revealed. Those moments are the new self breaking through. They are albedo beginning, even while nigredo is still completing. Okay, what's the quantum bridge? Now, here's what quantum science adds to this. And I find this extraordinary. I love quantum physics. Federico Vagin, let's bring him up again. One of my favorite guys, the physicist who designed the first microprocessor and spent decades after that studying consciousness, said something that maps directly into the dark night. He said that consciousness is not passive, it is active. It is rendering reality from a field of infinite possibilities. This is the guy who had this. He was an atheist. He was a materialist. He was a scientist, had an awakening, and a light came from his heart chakra, and he connected to a universe he didn't know existed, and now he speaks of it. But here's the thing about rendering. What is rendering? Rendering is bringing into the physical world something that already exists. You don't have to create it. It is a reality that exists. You just have to choose it, right? Before a new rendering can be completed, the old one has to be cleared. They would be in conflict. You can't render a new image on top of an existing one and have clarity. The old must be dissolved, decomposed, if you will, before the new can be expressed with full resolution. That's nigredo in quantum language. All right, this is the passage into the new era, the golden era, the new you that has no definition anymore. How freeing will that be? Some of you are experiencing this. So the dark night is your consciousness clearing the cache, like on your computer, dissolving the old rendering, the old version of you. Bye-bye. Yeah, it's going to feel real good. The old probability you were holding so that a new one, a truer one, can come through with full resolution. This is not spiritual philosophy. Fagin would call it the mechanics of conscious transformation. Jung would call it individuation. The ancient alchemists called it the blackening. They were all describing the same process, and that process is not happening to you. It's happening for you, through you, as you. Now, I want to pause here because if this is resonating, if you recognize yourself in any of these signs, I want you to drop a comment right now and tell me, are you in the dark night? Have you been through one? What was the hardest part to understand while you were in it? It's such a dark, deep, empty space because your experience mattered and someone else reading your comment tonight is going to feel less alone because of it. So please subscribe. Give this a thumbs up if this is giving you clarity. It truly helps more people find this work when they need it most. How to move through it, not around it. So what do you actually do when you're in a dark night? I'm going to give you 3 things. Not to escape it because you cannot escape it, and rushing it prolongs it, but to move through it with intelligence. First, stop trying to fix it. I know that sounds counterintuitive, but the single most common mistake people make during a dark night is treating it as a problem to be solved. It's there for a reason. They exhaust themselves trying to restore the old state, raise the vibration, get back to feeling good. Jung said, you cannot force nigredo to end. What you can do is stop fighting it. Like breakthrough fear. You observe it. You don't try to end it. The decomposition happens at its own pace. Your resistance is the only thing that makes it more painful. Once you hit there, there's only one way to go, and that's up, and it will happen. Second, witness, don't perform. During a dark night, the temptation is to narrate your own suffering. Analyzing. Oh, we have analyzing going on all the time to build an identity around being in the dark night. I am someone who is going through a profound spiritual transformation. That narration is the ego finding a new costume. Real nigredo doesn't need an audience. It needs a witness. Your own quiet, honest, non-judging presence with what is actually there. Third, trust the intelligence of the process. This is the hardest one because the dark night feels unintelligent. It feels random, brutal, unfair. Jung said, it is not. The psyche has its own wisdom. It knows exactly what needs to dissolve and why. It knows what the ego cannot be trusted to release voluntarily. You're not falling apart. You're being reorganized by an intelligence that is deeper than your conscious mind. Nothing's in stone but this transformation is in motion, and you cannot stop it. You can only choose whether to resist it or to trust it. If you've been through this, then you would be feeling like you don't name anything. There's no name. There's no identity with self anymore because you know that this was a story and an illusion. So I want to end with this, the empowerment payoff. I want to close with this powerful statement because someone watching right now is in the middle of the darkest period of their life. And they found this video, which means something in them was searching for this exact understanding. Carl Jung lost nearly everything during his own dark night of the soul. Between 1913 and 1917, after his split with Freud, he entered what he called his confrontation with the unconscious. He had visions. He heard voices. He questioned his own sanity. The man who gave us the map of individuation, he was a nigredo himself completely for years. And what came out of that period? Everything. The Red Book, the concept of archetypes, the entire framework of analytical psychology. His greatest work emerged from his darkest hours, not despite them, because of them. The lead became gold. So I'm going to ask you right now to never lose your sight of that. What you are in the middle of is not the end of your story. It's the necessary beginning of the most important chapter of it. You're not broken. You're being rebuilt. You're not losing your way. You are losing what was never truly you. You are not falling. You are being prepared. Can you turn the story around? Of course you can. It's a story, right? No, it is done. Blessings to you, my friend. And if you want to know the answers to the universe, I have them in my book. During a download of not defining anything, you have access to that space. And if you read my book, it's going to make perfect sense and let you know how powerful you are and how amazing this journey is. I hope you will subscribe. Go down in my description. I have amazing products from companies that don't destroy the planet, animals, no plastic, no toxins. Go and explore that. And also, I have a membership here, and we meet every Sunday and we talk about all of this for 1 to 2 hours. You get my videos first. And also, I have a membership, Breakthrough Fear. Go check the links in the description. If it's there, that means I've launched and everyone can take the extensive 5-star Breakthrough Fear course that's going to take you through the release of the stories, recognizing the fear, no more naming, not understanding what you are anymore and being okay with that. Yeah. And so all of this, we can pass through it with flying colors. You are whole and perfect, strong and powerful, loving, harmonious, and happy. That's from the Master Key System. You are perfect. Know this. Don't put a name on it. Just be. I am that. I am. Namaste.